Welcome back to the channel Gadgets for Gentlemen. First of all, apologies for the light conditions. It is summer here in the Netherlands, but it looks like it's winter. It's very strange. So I'm using artificial light right here. And I know the conditions on the camera are not perfect, so apologies for that. In this video, I'm going to compare the Tudor Black Bay 41 that we have here on the left. And this is the box. This watch belongs to my friend. And the Omega Seamaster 300, Diver 300. This watch also belongs to my friend, but this is my own watch box. And on the wrist, I have my own Omega Seamaster Diver 300, the black dial on a NATO strap. So in this video, I'm going to compare these two watches. Why comparing these two watches? Because these watches can be had for around the same price point. I think the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 is a bit more easy to obtain because of availability with watch dealers at your AD. The Tudor Black Bay 41 and also the Tudor Black Bay 54 are a bit more tougher to obtain because of availability. But both of these watches, they come at around the same price point. Luxury pieces, divers. We're dealing here with 300 meters water resist helium escape valve and a 200 meter water resist here on the left. Tudor is the sister brand of Rolex, and then here on the right we have Omega. So quite comparable watches in terms of size, in terms of price point, and in terms of specifications. So I think it's a fair comparison if you are in the market for obtaining your first luxury timepiece, which is like much more affordable than, for example, the Rolex Submariner. This might be the watch of your preference. So let's dive into it. So maybe not the most important difference between the watches, but you can see with Omega, you're getting a lot of value even in the watch box. So that's the outer box. And it comes, as you can see, in a beautiful wooden box. That is just, for me, it's like first time seeing a watch brand putting so much effort in presentation. So here we have a beautiful wooden watch box, as you can see here, with very nice leather interiors. This is my personal bracelet of the Omega. Maybe a good point to just point out that this is just a fantastic metal bracelet with a quick adjust system, as you can see right here, that I use like all the time when I wear it on the metal bracelet. So you push the this part and then you can adjust the bracelet, as you can see right here, without the need of spring bar 2 for adjustments. So you just use your thumb and you can adjust the fit of the watch quite a bit. There's also a diver's extension that I never use, but it's here, as you can see. So very much a fantastic bracelet, and I'll get back to it later because I personally prefer the look of the Tudor bracelet compared to this one. But I was talking, and I am talking about the watch box here with the Omega. Is just so special. It's like beautiful materials. So when I bought my Omega, I even got this beautiful leather pouch for the reference numbers that I will not show here, in the image, but very just beautiful attention to detail with this watch box. Also instruction manual, as you can see right here. Fantastic box, very secure. With Tudor, you get a bit more of that Rolex treatment, where you get a simple box that just looks very nice, but it's nothing really to write home about. You have a cardboard box with beautiful velvet interior, very soft materials. Also with the tag, of course, and warranty. A place where you can store your spare links if you need to adjust the bracelet. So very much a nice box, but it's not as pretty as the Omega in my opinion. So that is the first difference between these watches, and I think it's the least important difference if you are out to buy a watch. Now let's continue. Here we have the two watches. Let's zoom in a bit. Here on the left we have the Omega, on the right we have the Tudor, as you can see right here. So one difference between these two watches is color options. The Tudor Black Bay 41 only comes in this color variation as of now, July 2023. I wouldn't be surprised if Tudor in the coming months or years will also release some other color variations. I think they will do something blue. I think, you know, that's to be expected. Maybe something black, maybe something green. I think, you know, that's quite a safe prediction. Like we have seen with the Tudor Black Bay 58, that also over time came in different color configurations. The Omega Seamaster Diver 300, as you can see, comes in blue, it comes in black, and I also saw a beautiful green version. I did a video of the green version, which will soon be on my channel, so stay tuned for the green version. That is also fantastic. The Omega you can purchase on a metal bracelet, oyster style, straight, no taper, or you can buy it on a rubber strap. That is extremely comfortable. So I highly recommend going for the version that you like. I think both of these options are super high quality. I went for the metal bracelet, and usually I wear it on the metal bracelet or a NATO strap. But if I have some spare funds, I will definitely buy the rubber strap as well, because it's such a high quality strap. It looks so great, and wearing it on a rubber strap or NATO strap definitely will save you some weight on the wrist. So that's why I usually wear it on a NATO, but this metal bracelet is fantastic. The Tudor Black Bay 41 comes in 3 different strap options. I think this is the best option, the Jubilee metal bracelet with a very strong taper with the T-Fit quick adjust system. There's also a 3-link bracelet. I think that's the name of the bracelet. It's oyster style with faux rivets. So there's on the sides of those links, I think, a ugly detail. Therefore, I'm not a fan of that oyster bracelet. And there is a rubber strap version, also with the T-Fit. With Tudor, with the 41, you definitely have a lot of strap options. The Jubilee version, I think it's the most pricey version, but I think it's totally worth it. So we spoke about colors. So we have blue, black, and green with the Omega. There is also a white and gray version of the Omega. I will try and include some photos right here of all these different colors, so you have a sense of what I am talking about. With the Tudor Black Bay 41, currently there's only one color configuration, which I think looks fantastic. So let's have a closer look at the bracelets. Here with the Omega, we have a beautiful bracelet with a very solid clasp, with the easy way of adjusting the bracelet without any tools. Using that push button, you can easily find a nice fit with a solid click. I think it's very fantastic. There is the DIVER extension as well. As you can see here, super secure. That's the DIVER extension. And that is the bracelet of the Omega. If we look at Tudor, right here we have the Jubilee bracelet that has a strong taper. So unlike Omega, this doesn't go down straight, but it tapers. So we have a luck width of 21 mil compared to a 20 mil luck width. And then it tapers down to about 16 mil at the Tudor clasp. So this creates this kind of V shape, and I think it's very, very elegant and dressy on the wrist. For such a tool watch, I mean, this is a real tool watch, high performance, no nonsense, but that bracelet gives it a bit more prettiness, classiness that we can also see, for example, with a Rolex Datejust. And here we have the Tudor clasp. Let's compare it to the Omega clasp. We have a beautiful Tudor shield, and to open the clasp you need to put your nail underneath that shield, while the Omega features a mechanism where you have push buttons on the side to open the clasp, as you can see right here. That works just a little bit different with the Tudor. As you can see, you put your nail underneath, then we can see these ceramic ball points right here, and to open the buckle again you put your nail underneath, and here we have those machined parts reading Tudor Genève. Very fantastic bracelet. And here what I personally love about this bracelet is the T-fit. So to adjust the bracelet ever so slightly to micro positions, you pull the bracelet like so, and then you can slide the bracelet into your favorite position. There's not a whole lot of positioning, unlike the Omega. I think the Omega has a bit more length in terms of the adjustments. As you can see right here, I think it's a bit longer in terms of adjusting, but with Tudor I think it's enough to change the fit, for example on a warm sweaty day. If your wrists are expanding a bit, there's enough positions to adjust it. I think with the 41 there is no diver's extension, and for me personally it's not something that I will miss wearing this watch, because I'm not a diver in the first place, and the lack of a diver's extension makes this clasp actually quite short, much shorter I think than the Omega. So the clasp length of the Tudor is about 38 millimeters. With the Omega I get about 43 millimeters. So for my skinny wrists wearing the Tudor, the clasp of the Tudor is a bit more comfortable on the wrist because it's shorter. So we had a look at the colors, we had a look at the bracelet. Now finally, I think also worth noting with the bracelet, both of these bracelets can easily be adjusted. Links can be easily removed using a screwdriver. The screws on the Omega seems to be a bit bigger, but the screws are located on both sides of the bracelet. So you need to use 2 screwdrivers to be able to remove it. You definitely need some help with it. And with the Tudor, the screws look a bit finer, look a bit smaller. So here's another small difference in these 2 watches. The Tudor features, just like Rolex, a closed caseback, which is not decorated very much. It's just that Rolex screw down caseback with some important information written on the back. With Omega we have the pleasure of having a look at that fantastic coaxial watch movement with quite some decoration, as you can see here. So we have an exhibition caseback with a sapphire crystal, and it's just so wonderful to have a closer look at the exhibition caseback, and here we can see that watch movement. What's interesting about the Omega watch is the dial is made out of ceramic, and as you see they use a laser to create these beautiful wave pattern. These are actually cutouts by a laser, and I think for a dive watch that is quite fitting to have a wave pattern. But also I think it's quite strange and beautiful how there's so much eye to detail for a dive watch, while usually the dials of a dive watch are quite simple. And I think this dial just has a level of refinement that again is unlikely for so many dive watches. We have skeletonized hands, we have applied hour markers, and we have a date complication. With Tudor, we also have applied markers. We don't have skeletonized hands, but we have hands that are very similar to Rolex, unlike the hour marker that has that very famous Tudor snowflake hand. What else? No date complication with the Tudor, and unlike Omega, we're not dealing with these cold and cool colors, silver, steel, but we have a bit warmer colors on the dial because of those gilt markers and gilt hands. With the Tudor, there's just a little bit less information on the dial. It reads 200 meters, 660 feet, master chronometer. And with the Omega, we have 4 lines of text. Here we have, in the center, we have that text about the way they treated the dial. Then we have coaxial master chronometer 300 meters. And both of these watches, of course, Swiss made. Another difference with these two watches, it ties into that water resist levels. With the Omega, we have a helium escape valve here at the 10 o'clock position, which is quite pretty. But of course, it's quite visible. You know, you have to like this design. With the Tudor, it's a bit more clean, more symmetric. There's no helium escape valve. Now let's have a closer look at the crown. With the crown of the Tudor, you can see it's very grippy. It's super beautifully decorated with that Tudor rose, and the structure of the crown is just fantastic. It's so easy to grip, even wearing gloves. It's super easy. Now with Omega, we have a crown that is protected with very substantial crown guards that we cannot find with the Tudor, that has no crown guards. And the crown on the Omega is a little bit less easy to grip. Beautiful engraved with the Omega logo here on the crown. Signed crown, very nice. Another difference between these watches is the build material. We have a ceramic bezel insert with the Omega, which means it's super unlikely to scratch over time. So this bezel will stay pristine for basically forever. With the Tudor, we're dealing with an aluminium bezel insert, which is not likely to scratch, but over time it could occur. Some scratches do appear when you scratch that beautiful bezel. So definitely over time the Tudor will show more signs of wearing on this bezel. Now to look at the bezel itself, we can see that the bezel looks quite different. We have a coin edge bezel on the Tudor. With the Omega, we have more like a skeletonized bezel. As you can see, the pattern on the bezel is quite different. And personally, I think the bezel of the Tudor is a bit easier to grip, easier to rotate because of those teeth. Both of these bezels, they have super nice action. And also alignment here is quite nice, as you can see here. Now here we have the Omega skeletonized bezel. And as you can see, when you press it down, the bezel is quite easy to rotate. So here we have the bezel action on the Omega. And the bezel is so extremely solid. Like, I really love it. Alignment is just perfect. However, it's a bit tougher to grip because the lack of those teeth that you can see with this coin edge bezel. Also, what I noticed with the Tudor is we have I think it's a domed sapphire crystal. You can see just a slightly dome here on the crystal. Omega has the same thing. However, with Omega, the sapphire looks to be more flat. It doesn't seem to extend as much as with the Tudor, but that's just how I see it. It might be the same, but to me the Tudor looks to be a bit taller, that sapphire crystal. So let's have a closer look at the dimensions of these watches. I think dimensions and weight must be, for me personally, important features of a watch, because if this is going to be your daily watch, then those metrics really add up to the experience. So let's have a closer look. First of all, let's start with the thickness. The Omega measures 13.2 millimeters from the open case back to the top of the sapphire crystal. And here the Tudor is just ever so slightly thicker, 13.7 millimeters. So we have a lug width of 21. It tapers down to about 16 at the buckle. With the Omega, it's worth noting that we have a lug width of 20 millimeters, so a little bit more narrow compared to the Tudor. But then the bracelet does not taper, so it's straight all the way. And the width of the buckle is about 21 millimeters. With the Tudor, the width of the buckle is about 18 millimeters. So for my skinny wrist, 6.3 inches wrist, the bracelet of the Tudor wears a bit better than the Omega. Let's also have a look at the lug to lug distance, which is this distance. I think with Omega we get about 50 millimeters. When I measure it up, 49.2. And I think the Tudor is ever so slightly shorter in terms of lug to lug. I get about 48.8. So quite similar. I must say with the Tudor, you can see that those lugs, they curve down stronger than the Omega in my observation, as you can see right here. And also the bracelet goes straight to your wrist with the Tudor, as you can see right here, much stronger than the Omega, that just extends a bit more. Now diameter, I think the Tudor is a 41 mil diameter. Let's have a closer look. I get about 40.5 on the Tudor, and with the Omega, let's have a closer look. I get about 42.8, and here I get about 41.9. So I would say it's about 42 millimeters. There's a couple of links removed on both of these bracelets, so the fit is about the same. What I notice here holding these watches, the Tudor is a bit lighter. I'm not sure if it's the case or the bracelet or both, but the Omega, I think it's primarily the case of the Omega, is a bit heavier than the Tudor. And let's put it into perspective. Now let's start with the Omega on the scale. Couple of links removed, 175 grams. The Tudor, couple of links removed, 150 grams. So there's a 25 gram difference in terms of these watches, which makes wearing the Tudor for me personally a bit more comfortable on the wrist. Now let me throw it on the wrist and see how it wears. So let's get started here with the Omega 6.3 inches wrist. So these watches, they belong to one of my friends, and he has a wrist size of about 6.8 inches. So his wrists are a bit bigger than mine. And when I wear these watches, I would need to remove a few more links. Yeah. So for me personally, the weight will go down even a bit more. So let me start with the Omega here on the wrist and show you how it wears. So this is the Omega here on my left wrist. And let's have a closer look here at the Tudor, which I'm going to do on my right wrist. Again, super secure buckle, as you can see right here. And let's throw it on my right wrist. And what I notice is the Tudor wears a bit lighter compared to the Omega. In terms of that dimension, I think the Tudor stays, in terms of that lug to lug distance, stays ever so slightly on the size of my wrist. Basically, if this distance was longer, I think it would have been too big. But I just am able to pull off this design, I think. And this is what it looks like. And I really love this Jubilee style bracelet. Now here we have the Omega, and as you can see, this wears even a bit bigger than the Tudor. And here we have them side by side. The beautiful blue one on the metal bracelet, and here the Tudor with the red bezel. And I think both of these watches are perfect in their own right. Unfortunately, it's not dark enough to do a Lume check, but let me just show you a little bit what to expect when we charge the luminescent material on these watches. So there we have the Omega, and here we have the Tudor. And let's see if we can get a glimpse of what to expect with these watches. Yeah, so unfortunately it's not dark enough for a Lume shot. Maybe something for a future video. I can't really provide it right now. But these are the watches, and I really want to know which of these watches you favor. I think they're very perfect, and they could suit your collection. To each his own. Like, I personally very much love it, these two watches. And you know, I personally bought myself the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 black on the metal bracelet, and I wear it a lot on the NATO strap to reduce some of the weight of the metal bracelet. And I'm a big fan of the Omega watch, but I have also been looking at Tudor watches for I think over 2 years now, ever since I got myself the Omega. Actually, I wanted to buy the Tudor Black Bay 58 in blue, but then I thought with the Omega I had a bit more of watch for the money, with a better movement, with a ceramic bezel insert, so on and so forth. Now with the Tudor Black Bay 41 with the MEDAS certified watch movement, I think the gap between Omega and Tudor is even smaller. I think now with Tudor, it's a great competitor to the Seamaster Diver 300. And in terms of design, there's quite a difference. And to some people, the Tudor might appeal more compared to the Omega. So I hope this video was helpful to kind of like pointing out some key differences between these two fantastic watches. So if this video was helpful to you, then please leave me a like, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more videos. For example, the Omega Seamaster Diver 300 in green. For example, the Omega Seamaster, the James Bond edition, made from titanium build on a NATO strap. Much more videos to come. Have a fantastic day and see you soon.